Thought I'd bring you up to speed on what I'm doing vis-a-vis knife making. I've just finished these two little chaps here for a customer of mine. He's just asked me to make, well, he asked me to make these a while ago. I've just gotten around to finishing them, and this is a material called molten metal inlace, and I've never used it before. It's kind of an acrylic thing. These knives aren't my design. These are pictures he sent me to make these, and this stuff is really, wow, psychedelic in a weird acid trippy sort of way. And you get it there. When you catch this in the sunlight, it is just yeah, they are, God, they are sharp. They are really sharp. Just believe me, they are sharp. They're just sticky, the edge, they're that sharp. That's one of them. And there's the other one. So yeah, two knives. These are in 01 tool steel. He wanted them in 01. He wants to be able to easily sharpen these, you know, in the field. So hence the 01, and these have just a hard edge, slightly harder edge than normal. They're just 60.5 Rockwell, just so they hold an edge. So I've been tasked also a while ago with making this, and my plan is to do it in 80 CRV2. Now, because that is sort of a short sword type blade, and it's going to be 5mm with a distal taper, I kind of want to do a test piece really before I make that. But for a while I've wanted to do the American Bladesmith Society test on one of my blades. I've done all the testing apart from the bend test. So I bought a piece of 1-inch rope, and the test is to actually clean chop through that rope, one slice. The next test is to chop through a 4x2 twice, then shave your arm, and the final test is in the vise and bend the knife to 90 degrees. Hopefully it won't break. We'll see how good my heat treating is. We'll see how good my edge retention is, and we'll see how good the blade is. I think you're allowed cracking along a third of the width of the blade, but hopefully I won't get any of that. Anyway, it's a differential heat treat. What I'm going to make is a Bowie style knife, similar, not quite Bowie. There'll be no clip on it, I don't think there's any point putting a clip on, but it'd be kind of Bowie profile. So I've got a massive sheet, I think it's 8mm thick of 80 CRV2 steel, which I've had for quite a while now. I'm going to cut a couple of slices off that now, then forge it down in thickness, forge the tip in, and get to making this blade. And I'm thinking something like that, not tied to this, but something around there. I've cut my 80 CRV2 off. Just got that little clip there for forging ease. But I did a grind and just a very rough flattening off there with that. I've got it to 5mm, and the blade as it stands now is at the parameters, the ABS parameters, which is 10-inch blade, 10 by 2, no longer than 15-inch overall. There's a bit of a bend in it as it's come out as it's come off forging and cooled down. So what I'm going to do now is anneal it. Then I'm going to drill the handles for the pins. I'm going to do almost the final grind on. Then I'm going to thermal cycle. Then I'm going to heat treat. Back in a minute. I've annealed it and straightened it out. God, this is tough. This is so tough. It just does not want to move. And even Rockwell tested it to make sure it was annealed, and it is. It's something like 25 Rockwell, but it is so tough. It just did not want to straighten out. I've straightened it out best I can. It's just off a little bit on the handle, so I'm going to take a little bit of meat off that, then the blade will be straight on each side, and I'm going to take the width down. I've marked the spine on the surface table so that the spine is central. I'm going to take a bit of weight off this. Now I need this to be, I need to be able to Rockwell test this edge. So I'm not going to grind the bevels in. I'm going to do them after the blade's been heat treated, because I can't test it on my Rockwell machine after the bevels have been ground in. So let's take some weight off and drill the handle, and can crack on then. You can maybe see there, they're the high spots, just there and there, so I take them down now. Still there, and there, and there. Apology again guys, because I forgot to turn the main mic on the camera. Anyway, so all I'm doing here is just cleaning up this blade with some window cleaner, ready to put some anti-scale on, because I'm going to go and thermal cycle this blade now and then heat treat it. So just give it a clean up. I've just got it dead straight now, dead flat and parallel. So it's just ready for grinding bevels, which I'll do after heat treating. So here we are after all the thermal cycling. The ATCRV2 has been in the oven for exactly 10 minutes at 810 degrees centigrade, and I'm just trying to do a bit of an edge quench here, just keep the spine back a bit. So I'll just agitate it in there, just get it cool enough so I can touch it, and then bring it out and Rockwell test it and just make sure I got a good conversion on the quench. So here we are on the Rockwell test. I've just speeded this process up because it's a bit time consuming. But you can see here, that's the first test and it's horrendous. It's, what is it, 57 Rockwell. It should be on 64, 65. So I did 3 more tests along the edge and they all came out the same. And I figured it's probably decarb. So on this one here, I've been back to the grinder and I've taken 1/4 mil off the face of the knife, just to check that it is decarb that's giving me a bad reading. And this is the first test I'm about to do now on this. So here we go. You can see it's come out about 65, which is just where ATCRV2 should be. So that's perfect. I did a couple more tests as well. That was the third test I'd done, and it was the same all the way down the blade. So here I'm just testing the spine now, because I need this spine quite a bit softer than the edge for doing this bend test. So it's what, 61, 62. That's way too hard. I need this to be in 40 Rockwell. So I guess I'm going, after tempering, it's still going to be too hard, so I just going to have to blue back the blade. And this was the straightening jig I showed you a while ago that I'd made, and what I've done since, I've cut that front post down by half, so that it now allows me to put the ruler against the blade whilst it's in the jig. So you can just check how far you're pushing, you know, to a greater degree of accuracy. It also, when you release it, you can still check the blade to see if it's straightened out. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this whole rig now into the tempering oven and temper this for an hour at, I think, 235 degrees centigrade for its first temper cycle. So after tempering, it came out at 59 Rockwell after the first temper cycle. It's okay, I'm going to do at least 2 more temper cycles on this. So after that first cycle, I ground in the bevels almost fully, because I want to blue back this blade now. So I'm going to put it into a water tray and just really soften down the spine. So here we go. I should have maybe put a bit of cloth, wet damp cloth, on the right hand side as well, because you can probably see a bit of a bulge in the plastic there where the blade is just deflecting the heat to the right and it's actually melting it. But I'm almost done here anyway. Really softening that down the back of that spine, and the water, it just prevents the heat running down onto the edge and ruining that temper. Water will boil at 100 degrees centigrade, so even if the water starts to boil, it still cannot ruin the edge of that knife. And there we go, that will do really nicely. So I'm going back and doing another temper cycle now. Oh, I'm sorry guys, I hadn't realised, but my mic was turned off before. But anyway, right, I'm here, I've fully ground it, and I think I've cocked up a little bit because I think it's a little bit thin. You see the spine, look, it's kind of more of a chef knife now. I took it down to 4mm. That's my mistake. I should have left it at 5mm and done the flats off that. But anyway, it is what it is. I've just tempered it again, hence the colour, because as I was sharpening it, I didn't like the way the burrs were coming off the edge. They were kind of sticking a bit too much, so it was a little bit hard to me. So I've just tempered it again at a higher temperature, and I think it's okay now. Right, I'm going to stick a handle on it, and then we're going to go and do the test. Right guys, I've just put a basic handle on of just a bit of walnut, not even tried to make it pretty. So let's get this done, let's see what happens. So, can you see this? It's shaving sharp. Can't shave that way. Let's have a look. See that? So she's shaving sharp, and we want to know if she'll do that after I've chopped through the wood. Like I say, I've messed up really. I just think it's too thin, and I don't think that edge is going to survive. It'll survive, but I don't think it'll still be as sharp when I've chopped through the 3x2, because the edge is a little thin. But anyway, the first job is make sure I'm recording. Yes. I've got to chop through this 1-inch rope with one whack. So let's see how I do that. Yeah, that was no problem. 4x2 now. And I could be here a while, I think. Just put that piece of wood under there because I don't want to hit the anvil. start off without that, I think. One. How's that look? Okay. I wasn't going to bother if it if it damaged that edge then. Whew. God, that is still so sharp, guys. Completely bald arm now. So the last test is the bend test. That was hard work using such a skinny knife to chop through that. Let's spin around and have a look. I think I'll have to move the vise. They usually put it in about there, which is about 3 inches, so that's what I'm going to do. This vise isn't actually that good, so I'm just hoping it clamps it up okay. It's a bit old and worn like me. Right, here we go. I'm a little bit worried because I think the edge could have been about 1 Rockwell point softer than it is at current, so anyway, we'll see. Let's see what happens. Here we go. Guys, I think I'm going to have to get a pipe. Ooh. This is the bit where you should have looked for a pipe before you started. That should do it. Yeah. There we go. Go again. The goggles back on. Guys, I would say that That is definitely 90. And she did not crack. And she's still razor sharp. And she will now cut round corners. You know, I just showed you how I straightened it. I put it back in the vise and straightened it out. And I wasn't recording, oh my god, such a muppet. Anyway, it's just gone straight. And I promise you, I have not touched that blade, the edge. I was showing you how I was trying to cut paper with a bent knife, but that is after testing. Awesome. So I can now make, I'm doing all this again now, so I can now make the long knife out of the same steel 80CRV2. I've actually got a steel delivery coming in about 20 minutes, so I'm just going to have to speed this up. Got a delivery coming. And this morning in the mail, got these sent to me. Absolutely awesome. Some great logos. So I'm going to put these up around the shop. These are from Bumpers Forge, or Bumpers Forge. He got in touch with me a while ago, and I'm sure his name's Scott. I'm sorry if your name is not Scott, but my memory for names has got just big holes in it. It always has had. So yeah, thanks very much for them, mates. And I think Scott's on Facebook. I'm not sure if he's got a YouTube channel or not, but I'll put a link to him down in the description box. He does make etching machines as far as I know, and he does etching stencils. I'm not 100% sure. If you want to know, I guess you get in touch with Scott and he'll let you know. But yeah, so this I did some reading last night, just checking on everything, and this is actually a journeyman test. This knife was a journeyman's test. An actual mastersmith test or a higher level test is a 300 layer billet, which you've got to forge into, I think it's almost identical knife or same parameter style knife, and then you've got to put that through the same tests. I might even do that sometime just for kicks. This wasn't for anything specific, this was just seeing how far I could push this steel with regard to making that knife. So now as I've done this, I know I am going to heat treat, I am going to work on this knife. It's going to be treated exactly the same as this blade, and I know that will be an awesome knife then. And sometimes you've just got to do tests like this to know how far you can push things, and how to do your heat treating, and how to do your tempering, and one thing and another. And that's my phone. So alright guys, I will see you soon. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons, bye for now.